Welcome to the Amatoria podcast with Marvin Allen and Justin Dodd. Join us for a journey through the art of love across the world, guided by timeless wisdom and lived experience. Oh, I have all the time in the world. One more year of work, 2 more years, 5 more years of this job that I hate. Then I'll finally have enough money to travel. If you sold your house and your car and sold everything, you could travel tomorrow.
And you can tick off every week that passes by. So you have like a visual representation of how many weeks or days you have left in your life. Talking about memento mori, like all these things, all this time that passes, and you don't even realize how much time you have left potentially on this earth, and it could be way shorter. Like, who knows? How death can be a powerful companion and a helpful guide.
What if you knew that you were going to die this month? Would that change anything about how you live? How was that conversation for you, Marvin, that we just had with Lee? What were your main takeaways?
Incredible, man. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't believe we waited so long to have him on. Really a legend in the community, and I really liked the conversation about death. That was probably the biggest takeaway for me. The way he approached death, the way his view of death transformed throughout his journey, and he's a really great communicator and storyteller, and he has a way of sharing his experience in that regard with other people that it really resonates and it hits you hard, and it's like, wow, he went through all that, and it makes you think about your own life, your own death, and your own journey.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Very reflective episode.
Yeah, indeed. What was your main takeaway? What struck you most?
It's cool to think that people can come up with the same ideas, really different life experiences, same conclusions. And maybe that draws the communities. Life doesn't give you good symbols, good heroes, good inspirations, a good message. You have to go create it and find it for yourself. I have a lot of respect for guys like Zan and Johnny. Everyone had a shitty childhood, and they did something with it. They went and created a group of men, yeah, at a peer level, and really respect and be respected. And that's the mark of a great man, is one that shitty situation and creates gold from shit, and he squeezes water from rocks because he force of will, will to power, is so strong. Instead of quietly despairing and letting his life just pass him by, he takes it into his own hands, makes a magnificent life.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot. I think in previous episodes as well. What makes a great man like Alexander and like all these other heroes that we talk about? And it's really there's something within them, some force, some touch of God, whatever you want to call it, that calls them forth to a greater life. And when they're in despair, they make the choice. They make the choice to put that aside and to go and pursue that great life anyway, no matter what kind of despair they are, no matter how hard the situation. And I mean that's one of the qualities that really makes a great life. And Lee kind of highlighted it when he was in his darkest moment, and he had he was dealing with the drugs, he was dealing with being broke, and he was in a shitty relationship that he didn't like, and he made that choice at that point to draw a map for himself, create the future life that he wanted to live, and then go and embark on that adventure. So yeah, man, mad respect to to Lee for going through that, and now being able to share that and to coach other men, to guide other men who are going through that. So he's doing great work.
It's incredible because it takes a very unique kind of person to go through their darkness, come out transformed, but also a very unique set of skills to come back and share the wisdom and the lessons in such a concise, as poking, but such a constructive way. You can tell the guy cares. That's
Yeah,
sounds so simple, but it's a rare thing.
yeah. And when you actually you spoke about like all these fake mentors and gurus that are out there, and all these people that are giving out advice but haven't actually lived their story. I wanted to read short poem that I wrote while I was in Brazil, and it's about listening, not listening to the wrong people, and actually listening to yourself and to people who've walked your path. So I'll read it, and it's called "The Courage to Listen." So it goes like this: Don't take advice from anyone who hasn't walked your path, who has not what you want to have, and who is not what you want to be. Don't take advice from doctors that are sick, from accountants that are broke, from friends, family, and parents. Yes, especially from them. Don't take their advice if they haven't been where you want to go. Unknown, there is a voice within that knows the truth. It whispers ever so silently at night, calling you forth and leading the way. It knows you because it's been with you all your life. It knows your fears, your hopes, your dreams, and your deepest desires. And it's always there, guiding you gently towards the light. Yes, do take advice from people who are what you want to become, but also don't neglect your innate truth. If only we had the courage to listen more often to its wondrous song. So I wrote that in Brazil because I had the sense that there's so much out there, so much bullshit, so much fake advice, so many people that think they know better for your life, what's right for you. And so many people get lost within the sea of fake advice and bullshit. And once you return to yourself and start listening to what's within you, that's when true transformation can happen. And then you start seeing all this fake stuff out there, and you actually also start seeing people who have walked their path and who are speaking from their heart and from experience. And it clarifies a lot. But I think it starts with listening to the voice within yourself.
That's wow, Marvin. Because how lost are men today? No, they have no, and so you have your gurus and these false idols, and your poem's beautiful, Marvin. Reminded me of this speech that Theodore Roosevelt gave in 1910. Man in the Arena. Maybe you're familiar with it. I can read it for effect.
Yeah.
That is, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. I'll read the whole thing, but commentary on each line. It's like, how many people tell you that you can't live the life that you want to live? And not even from a place. It is like the man that has no women telling you that you shouldn't date women because that's a sin. You got that advice from Hugh Hefner, or if you got that advice from Zan, or if you got that advice from Johnny, who have been with all the women of the world, okay, then it means something, right? But to take someone's advice that you don't admire or respect, that's social suicide. That is killing yourself, right? I'll continue. The credit belongs to a man who is actually in the arena. His face is marred like dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming. Does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, spends himself in a worthy cause, who knows at the best, knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. That his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And that's so interesting, how do we live the lives, our own lives, caring so much about what other people think that haven't walked the path, that don't like their own lives? How ridiculous is that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, unfortunately, those voices sometimes are the loudest and the most popular on social media, on where,
Yes.
because you can fake pretend and stir up controversy pretty easily nowadays, and it's hard. It's especially hard online to tell apart the people that have actually walked the path and the people that just pretend. It's very
Yeah.
difficult because you're swimming in a sea of endless information, of endless YouTube videos, of endless ebooks, and whatever else is out there. So it's very difficult. And I don't actually know how to how to pick out the good ones from the bad ones. But I think once you start walking your own path, you kind of how they what's the saying, like thieves recognize thieves, right? So once you start walking your own path, you will spot people that are on a similar journey, and it will be easier to spot the right people, I think.
That's the interesting thing, because how can you know? How can you know that someone is who they say they are online?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, like I've gotten to a point now where I'm like, I hear stories about people and people talk a lot of shit, but if I haven't seen with my own eyes, like the guy, do something in the world, I'm pretty cautious about anything they will say. So um, yeah, just I don't know, just too many experiences of people talking, and not actually doing something, and yeah. So I want to see it. I want to see it in action, live, in person. I want to see it with my own eyes, and then I'm like, all right, this one's legit.
There is a flip side to this though, and that is sometimes even a person that isn't as qualified as they say they are, they can actually help someone. But there's an interesting nuance to it.
Yes.
Because, for example, there's some guys that are self-proclaimed pickup artists, and they offer their coaching programs, and a guy takes it compared to what he was doing before, even if it's not a guy that spent thousands of hours, tens of thousands of hours in the land of women. It's more than he was doing before. So when he goes and is pushed to talk to 25 women, it's the most incredible thing in the world to him, and it was worth every penny because it was more than before. So
That's a good point.
there's an
Yeah.
interesting balance.
Yeah. There can be even some value in something that's not completely authentic, but it gets you to take the first step. So if someone has great marketing and great kind of hooks and gets you to do something, that could be the first step on your journey, and then to find your more authentic self and find more authentic people and mentors along the way. So yeah, I get, yeah, you're right. You're right. Maybe it's not all bad. at least,
It
at
was
least you
not
got
black and
all.
white.
Yeah, it's not black and white. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. But yeah, to bring it back to Lee, I mean, you can really tell he's been through a lot of stuff, and he's definitely walked his path. He's still on his journey, and now he's writing about it, which I'm very excited to read his book because it sounds fascinating. Like it's a very archetypal story that he's building up there, right, with death and life, and the poetics and the aesthetics of it all. I'm very intrigued by the way he thinks about life and death and desire, as the title of his book says. So yeah, I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, shaping up to be very, very interesting.
Yeah. You talked about, I think you have this, I was going to bring it up, but I didn't in the end in the conversation. There's a guy, I think his name is Tim Burton. He writes a blog called Wait But Why. And he has this chart of like all your days or weeks in your life. It's like little boxes that you can tick off. So you can see the whole, it's like a square kind of image, and you can tick off every week that passes by. So you have like a visual representation of how many weeks or days you have left in your life. And it's very powerful. Like I think you showed it to me once in Bucharest. I think you had it with you even, and it was like, man, like all these, talking about memento mori, like all these things, all this time that passes, and you don't even realize how much time you have left potentially on this earth, and it could be way shorter. Like who knows? Right? Um, yeah. So it's a death. He really highlighted how death can be a powerful companion and even a guide and a helpful guide to live a life that you're proud of.
How simple, how beautiful, simple is that idea?
Yeah.
Live a life you're proud of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, to comment on your comments, it's a memento mori calendar. So 52 weeks across and 80 or 90. I think mine capped out at 90 rows. So yeah, 5,000, let's say 4,000 weeks life at best. There's some exceptions, right? But at best, because who knows? You could just be hit by a car and it's over. Live from that place instead of, oh, I have all the time in the world. One more year of work, 2 more years, 5 more years of this job that I hate. Then I'll finally have enough money to travel. If you sold your house and your car and sold everything, you could travel tomorrow. No? what if, like, imagine, what if you knew that you were going to die this month? Would that change anything about how you live? And the question is, and I say it very strong, and I don't mean to preach, I just wish I had heard this. Like, why do you have to wait till the circumstances are so dire for you to live the life that you want to live, the one that you would be proud of, no matter how long it is? Say,
Yeah.
hammer the point
Yeah, I
home.
mean, well, I don't know. We're creatures of comfort, and it's very difficult to. I think that was one of the interesting points that Lee also talked about. Like, it's very difficult to really bring to the forefront of your mind the imminence of death, and thus the importance of building a well-lived life and a life that you're proud of, a life that you're. I like to think about it, a life that your 8-year-old and your 80-year-old self would be proud of. So the child within, and also the wise old man or woman. Yeah. What does it take? What does it take to finally do that? Because it's way easier to just sit down and watch TV or scroll through TikTok or, whatever. Like, it's, and then you keep pushing it off. And as Lee also said, like, at some point, the dark night of the soul comes knocking at the door. If you don't engage with it willingly on your own terms, then it will come to you, probably in a moment in time where you're not really prepared to deal with it. And then you will have to face it at some point. And yeah, and maybe at the point of death, when Lady Death comes around and says, "Hey, wait a moment, like, what have you done? What have you done?" No, you gotta change a lot of things and go back.
Yeah. If you think about it, a third of your life is sleeping, maybe a fourth if you sleep 6 hours a night. So that's gone. Let's say 40 years of your life is 8 hours a day, 5 days a week out of 7 at a job you hate. That's another big chunk of your life. You're already left with half of your life. Then obligations, this. That's 20 years of obligations. Either way is better than the other. These things are so down. And Ernest Becker wrote The Denial of Death. We spend our whole lives avoiding die. It's uncomfortable. And maybe listening to this is uncomfortable conversation. Maybe someone listening to this is also inspired or like hyped because they recognize that they're not being true to themselves. And if we can even help one person, plenty. Because um, just like that girl in the bar reminded Lee, you told me you wanted to do all these things. You had these big dreams. She was probably wet from this grand vision he had of his life. And then she asked him, why don't you just fucking do it? What a powerful thing coming from a girl, right?
Yeah.
Like, and women are great mirrors and they reflect us, our highest potentials, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like, a lot of times, if you go out there into the world of dating and relationships and you're not getting the results that you wish you had or want, it's usually a reflection of who you are and how you present yourself in the world. And that's why those kind of reflections are such a great guidepost along the way to kind of check in with the with the outside world. Like, am I actually the person I think I am? Am I actually a person I want to become? And you can, check in with the people, especially the women in your life, if that's really the case. Because, as you said, they're great reflectors of who you are and who you pretend to be in the world.
Maybe I'll say it strong. Maybe the girl doesn't like you because you go to a job that you hate 8 hours a day and you go home and you jerk off to make anything right with your life. Maybe that's why she doesn't like you. And it doesn't have to be that way. And it comes from a place of love. And it's, what are you going to do with this one precious life? You're on your last life.
Yeah.
You and I can talk in these philosophical terms, but practically,
Yeah, we're repeating a lot, but it's true.
Right. Right. It's exactly. I actually have a coin. I have two coins here. I don't know if the camera picks them up. This memento mori coin. You could leave life right now. It says on the back. This one is also memento mori coin. Death finds all men. Now, these are just reminders, and we lose touch with the fact that we're not to make this a morbid or depressing episode, right? Because there's so many things that you could be doing with your life. You don't have to go date women all around the world. That is a personal path of meaning that I think that we try to walk, right? But there's also at least see more than your hometown, right? At least go and see what's possible in the world, whatever form that takes. And I think we can only speak to our own experiences. The interesting time we live in.
What's the story behind those coins? Do you have a story of how you got them and what they mean to you?
Yes, well, I actually it's here. You can see it. 3/8/2019. March 8th, 2019. Yeah, me. Prom was the next day, and I was supposed to be the designated driver for our little group. I was asleep. I told the story on. So I just got this tattooed on my leg. This is when I could have just been over. I wouldn't be here. You guys wouldn't be listening to me, Marvin. We wouldn't have had all the great adventures that we had across the world. It could have just been over just like that. So I got that tattooed, and then I went. So actually, before that, I had been on this generalized self-help rabbit hole, and that had come into Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, these things, and they're great things in your head. But when I almost died, of course, it took on a new meaning, right? Because so instead of that's a cool concept, so I'll think of it sometimes when I'm about to jerk off. Oh, well, you're gonna die, so go do something productive with your life, whatever. But wow, to have that in your body, in every fiber of your being, of course, it's a different level of understanding. And it is the same with women, actually. It you know every book and theory and boot camp concept demonstrate. Fuck, like what is that? What does that manifest in your body? What does that look like? What is that embodied knowledge? What is that? That's transformation. So yeah, there's a different thing. This is my way of things. Don't listen to me. I'm extreme. I like to work with men that want to change everything, not just men that want to go on a couple more dates. There's plenty of coaches for that. You can go work with them. And this idea of time, on linear time, we only have so much time. And to me, I already died. And I share this. I don't care to share about myself unless it helps you, the listener. I almost died. And so now I view, if I had died tomorrow, well, at least I had those adventures with Marvin. At least I met my heroes when I was a boy. At least I am still on this journey, living every moment as fully as I can. And it's all extra time because it could have already been over. So might as well do something that I love, and that comes with ups and downs. Sometimes that is going to the bar with no place to stay and just, you know what? I'm sure I'll find some nice girl here that let me stay at her place for 2 weeks. You know that story, Marvin. These things happen, and it's like that guy that was so nervous and in such a dark place that Lee talked about, and he turned that cave that he feared into a treasure of a threesome with the girl that brought her friend. He went from not knowing what to say to the girl to this girl coming over and bringing a friend. You have to go through the darkness for there to be transformation. I don't know what that looks like for you, but about the trajectory maybe is one way to think about it, Marvin. I'd like to pass it back to you after this. Is your life on an upward trajectory? Even if your life is shit, is it getting better? Or are you going down and down, getting older and having less time and less energy? I'll travel the world when I'm 60 or 70. Yeah, if you can walk.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, man. And not that everybody has to travel the world. It's your journey can be also, and everybody's journey is unique. But as Lee said, like it can help a lot to have an outward journey as well to accompany the inward journey, because it is more difficult to change inwardly if you have the same environment, the same people, the same friends, the same routines. It's very hard for most people to make significant changes or drastic changes within themselves. So it just helps to like say, all right, I'm going to spend this winter in Argentina. I'm going to spend this winter in Brazil. I'm just going to put myself in a completely new environment and see how my system reacts, see what comes up within me, because things will come up because you're having so many different experiences that you've never would have encountered, so many problems you have to solve, so many situations that you would never have encountered in your usual day-to-day life. And all those unusual encounters are opportunities to become someone else, to grow, to change, to become more of the person that you have in mind, that's in your vision. And so it is very helpful. I mean, you've been on a journey in South America as well last year. I've been on one this year, and it's every time you go through it and you come back, there's something new within you or a new side within you that you didn't know before. And there's a very, very subtle but powerful transformation that happens every time you come back from a journey like that. You bring back something else. Not that you can't do it inwardly like monks do, and you know, with very rigid spiritual practices, but there is something else to to going out there and actually living that in the world.
It is impossible to describe it with words. We can try to paint a picture on this podcast. We can try and record it in our vlog. Go and every man should go and see that for himself. What does that look like? Your life
Yeah,
doesn't have to be 10% you doing the things you want to do. What if it could be 100%? Marvin, you told me this yesterday. Maybe it was the day before. And you're like, if I don't want to do it, then I don't do it. And that sounds so simple, but it's not easy. And it's so
yeah,
easy for us to, say this, but like, why would you do something that you don't want to do?
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't mean
It's
to run in circles.
exactly, man. I mean, it is really, but it is really in the end, it is really that simple. And it's funny that this comes to mind now, but I used to listen to Gary V a lot, Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a pretty well known guy by now. And I used to have this poster on my bedroom door. It just said, "Stop doing shit you hate." It was very simple, and I think it resonated with me back then, like because I felt like my daily life and my life in general was full of doing shit that I didn't want to do and I hated doing. So every time I left my room, I looked at this poster and I was like, "Fuck, am I going to do something now that I actually fucking hate to do?" And how can I never have to do that again? Um, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but that's a powerful image for
Oh,
me.
that's great. That's great. And it's accessible. And I think all we can do is try and tell some stories and provide some frameworks for reflecting on the life that you truly want to live. It's everything.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, it's truly it's an exciting journey, and man, what kind of we look at the guys that we talk to, right? What a community to have. What people to have around us while we're on this journey together. We have us and Stan and everybody else is around, and it's really a great honor and a pleasure to be around those guys and to have these conversations with them. So yeah, exciting. Also, the conference is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from, well, we're going to release it. It's going to be a week and a half, 2 weeks. Uh, and so yeah, very very exciting to be there in Bucharest again and hopefully see a lot of familiar faces. And if you're new and you're
Unfamiliar
interested,
faces.
unfamiliar and familiar faces. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So as always, join Amorati, $100, change your life. Really, with brothers, I get it. Travel with the caravan. Want to change everything. Done hating your life. Stop doing shit you don't love. Yeah, that's it. No, ones that get it will answer the call. That inspiring conversation with Lee. episode might seem more dark or more morbid, but sometimes it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Discomfort leads to real
Yep.
change. We're going anyways, and we welcome you guys to join us. And time is passing, time is ticking. So, conference is in 2 weeks. We'll leave links to everything. Amorati, travel with us, and yeah, good to see you and speak to you again, Marvin.
Speak soon, man.
Speak soon. Take care, everyone. See you Sunday.